Pep Guardiola is probably the second best Premier League manager of all time, after Ferguson, of course. I mean, it depends who you ask, him, might be first, but regardless, he's dominated the late 2010s and the early 2020s. But my question is, does he ruin individual brilliance of some footballers? I'm not saying he doesn't improve players, I'm saying, does he take some fantastic, individually skilled players and does he not let them shine as much as they could elsewhere? So let's get into it. I'd just like to say there's a few players exempt from this. I think obviously Messi could perform for Barnsley in the Championship, and De Bruyne, Iniesta, Xavi. I think there's some players that just ascend certain play styles or so. But I think recently it's been players such as someone like Jack Grealish, or maybe even Phil Foden, or Riyad Mahrez, or players like that, because I think someone like Grealish came to Man City and he was just Aston Villa's force, wasn't he? He got the ball. Everything was created by him. I think I've heard someone say. I think Grealish said himself. Dean Smith just told him, "Get the ball and do what you want," basically, and that's how Villa succeeded during that time. And I think we all kind of thought Grealish would push on so much more at Man City. And yes, he won trophies. And yes, last season I thought he was brilliant. To be honest, I thought he played his role really well. But he's changed him into a different player. He's no longer that maestro on the wing who will just get the ball and take on 3 or 4 men, score 10, 12 goals a season, 10, 12 assists. I think it's to a point now where he just fits so well into the system he's playing in. And he's not even playing at the moment. Jeremy Doku's in front of him, Foden's in front of him. I know he's had injuries. But if you look at him from his Aston Villa form to now, it's a completely different player. And when you watch him for England, it's quite exciting because you can see the old Jack Grealish come out. And the question is this really a big deal? Maybe from the fan, yes, but in reality, probably no, because Grealish is still playing well. He's winning trophies and he's, one of the best players at Man City to win these trophies. So I suppose all's well that ends well, really. But I think Pep could be accused of potentially hindering some players' his ability and overcoaching. I mean, can you overcoach these players? Because someone like Grealish he plays quite defensively now. He tracks back really well. I think he hugs that touchline, and he'll have the odd moment in a game where he'll take it round a man and stick into Haaland. But in reality, most of his short passes, getting in behind, and just really squaring it back across the box. And that is somewhat limiting Jack Grealish. Compare it to someone, maybe even Riyad Mahrez, who I think Riyad Mahrez did show his brilliance at Man City. But again, you compare him to Leicester, and I even accuse Pep of maybe it works, doesn't it? Because he's one of the most successful managers ever, so it's clearly working. And none of this video means anything. But with the watchability of these players, Riyad Mahrez, his career, we were essentially robbed of a bit of a prime because we saw the 2 years at Leicester, the title winning season, and then the season after, and then he went to Man City. And he started playing 20, 25 games a season at most, starting for Man City. And Riyad Mahrez is one of the best wingers we've ever seen, in my opinion. He's one of the most technically gifted footballers. His touch is up there with Messi and Maradona, whoever you want to throw at it. So that's when you go, if he played for an Arsenal or a Chelsea or a PSG or something like that, we might have seen a lot more for him. He definitely wouldn't have won as many trophies, but he had to play a system again, and I think that's why he struggled to get consistent game time for Man City, because even though he's fantastic for them, Bernardo Silva plays that role really well because he's a runner, isn't he? He's fantastic on the ball, but he runs so much more than Mahrez. And you can even look at the Barca days in the early 2010s with Fabregas playing that false nine. I mean, Cesc Fabregas won the Golden Boy, sorry, and he was, and even at Barcelona but he was one of the best centre mids in the world. Yeah, he was playing the false nine for them a lot, and I think it limited his role because he kind of took a backseat, rightly so, to Messi and Xavi and Iniesta, and even David Villa and Pedro to a lesser extent. And then when he comes back to Chelsea, he gets most assists in the league, and he helps them win the title, and it just showed what a player he was and how he was being held back because of the system he had to play in. David Villa, for example, I thought he was a lot better at Valencia than Barcelona. And I know he had his leg breaks and stuff, and that's unfortunate. But it's just a question, really. Does Pep hinder these players? I think he also does improve a lot of these players because the system can benefit and hinder people. Look at Raheem Sterling. I really like Raheem Sterling. I think he's a fantastic player. I think he's fantastic for England. But he did benefit from playing in the Man City system because of the chances he got. He doesn't get those chances anywhere else. And that's why he was scoring 18, 19 goals in the Premier League. Raheem Sterling is not an 18, 19 goal player, really, is he? He's a 12, 13 goal a season player. But in the Pep system where Kyle Walker was just smashing those balls across the box, De Bruyne can find anyone, Gundogan's coming in behind, taking pressure off Sterling to cut inside or so. And all of this, I think, does allow these players to flourish. I just think it goes both sides, really. And the end result is fantastic. They win nearly every trophy they try to get, really. And you see the constant thing about the overcoaching. You see a lot of managers on football podcasts saying it. And I can get it to an extent because I think there is a lot less room for creativity in some players. I think the fact that people are saying wingers are dead nowadays is just flat out ridiculous. Look at Vinicius Junior, one of the best in the world. He's still got the the kind of vibe of the old Brazilian player. So that's just ridiculous. But I see what they mean in the sense that Foden, Jack Grealish, I mean, who else? Riyad Mahrez, Bernardo Silva, all these players in a lot of other teams would be maybe potential Ballon d'Or winners or potential nominees because their individual brilliance is just incredible. And I don't think we see as much of it at Man City. It's even Haaland, for example. I think Haaland looked a better player all around, maybe at Dortmund. Clearly, he's fitting like a glove at Man City and he's broken the records and he'll probably score 30 plus a season as long as he wants to. But his role is to get in behind, get on some loose balls, and just get in the box for De Bruyne or whoever to get the tap-ins, really. And that is fantastic. It's going to win City so many games. But it's just from a selfish point of view, seeing these players that I really enjoy watching, that they're just not the same players at Man City. And I'll say one more time, it is not a bad thing. Pep does improve players. I just also think players go into that system knowing that they're going to have to play a role, essentially. It's like a lot of other team sports, like the Spurs in basketball. They had a very, integrated system where players will look lesser because they're playing a role to make room for the best player on the team. And in this case with Man City, it's Kevin De Bruyne. Kevin De Bruyne is like free roam in that Man City midfield, but so like a Gundogan has to take a back seat sometimes. And it is what it is, really. They're going to keep doing it, and Pep is a fantastic coach. But let me know what you think. Let me know if teams getting overcoached nowadays, if there's less creativity in the game, if there's less flair, skills, or whatever. I think we always have players like Ronaldinho, Neymar, all these players, because there's so many coming through. But with these top teams who need to win basically every trophy, is there a certain, is there less room for that basically? So yeah, let me know. If you like the video, that'd be great. If you're new to the channel, if you could subscribe, that'd be fantastic. And thanks for watching.